Monsieur for his briefing. I now give the floor to Mr. Jack Christophidis.
Mr. President, distinguished members of the Council, thank you for the opportunity to brief the Council today. I'm honored to do so alongside my colleague, Special Representative of the Secretary General for Haiti and Head of the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti, Carlos Ruiz-Massieu. At the outset, allow me to recognize the important contribution of the multinational security support mission led by Kenya. Under extremely challenging conditions, the MSS laid the groundwork under Force Commander Godfrey Otunge, and we are building upon that foundation. I would also like to express my appreciation to the government of Haiti and to Prime Minister Fils-Aimé for their engagement and cooperation as we establish the gang suppression force. I've been in close and constructive contact with the Prime Minister and his team. I further acknowledge the strategic guidance and support of the Standing Group of Partners, as well as the important role of the Organization of American States in advancing coordinated efforts, including through its work on security and institutional strengthening. Mr. President, we're at a critical early phase of establishing the GSF. We remain acutely aware of the suffering endured by the Haitian people, particularly those living under gang control. There is an urgent need for concrete action to restore security and hope. We are not starting from zero, but we are starting differently. The GSF is being built as a disciplined, accountable, and partnership-driven mission designed to deliver targeted security results while upholding the highest standards of conduct and full respect for Haitian sovereignty. The mission is taking shape in a structured and deliberate manner. A deployment plan has been developed in consultation with the Haitian authorities, focused on priority areas and leveraging the specialized capabilities of contributing forces. The objective is clear: to degrade the operational capacity of gangs to a level that Haitian institutions can sustainably manage, thereby creating the time and space necessary for the state to reassert its authority. In parallel, we're advancing civilian deployment and establishing the core structures necessary to support intelligence-led mission planning, coordination, and oversight. The concept of operations has been finalized, providing a clear framework for how the mission will operate in practice, including integration with Haitian counterparts. Pre-deployment and induction training are being prioritized to ensure that all incoming personnel are prepared to operate effectively in a complex and sensitive environment and in full compliance with international standards. Mr. President, force generation is progressing with impressive pledges from member states. An initial deployment package has been approved in line with the authorized ceiling, and deployments will take place in phases over the coming months. Efforts continue to broaden participation and ensure that the mission is equipped with the capabilities required to fulfill its mandate. Maritime and border dimensions for the mission will be particularly important, including support for Haiti's capacity to manage its ports and commercial entry points. Expectations remain high. Many view the GSF as a potential turning point. It will be essential not only to deliver results, but also to communicate clearly with Haitian stakeholders, particularly the Haitian National Police and other national institutions, on how the mission will operate and how it will reinforce national efforts. Mr. President, the success of the mission will depend on effective coordination. We are working closely with the United Nations system, including the United Nations Support Office in Haiti and the United Nations country team, to ensure coherence across political, operational, and support functions. I welcome the appointment of Daniela Kroslak as head of UNSO. We're also engaging regional partners, including the Dominican Republic, to strengthen cooperation on border management and address shared security concerns. At the national level, we're advancing joint planning with the Haitian authorities, particularly with the Haitian National Police, to establish clear procedures for operations, including detention, transfer, and judicial processing. These arrangements will be critical to ensure that operational gains are translated into sustainable rule of law outcomes. This is, at its core, a concerted international effort to strengthen the security partnership with Haiti on multiple levels. Mr. President, we are fully aware of the risks inherent in this mission, and we're addressing them from the outset. Civilian protection, the prevention of sexual exploitation abuse, and adherence to international human rights law are central to our planning and operations. Clear guidance, training, and oversight mechanisms are being put in place to ensure that all personnel operate in accordance with the highest standards of conduct and accountability. We are working closely with the Haitian authorities to ensure that arrangements related to detention and the treatment of individuals are consistent with legal standards and operational realities. Particular attention is being given to the capacity of national institutions so that apprehensions can be effectively sustained through the judicial process. We know that effectiveness without accountability will not build trust, but accountability without effectiveness will not deliver security. Both are essential. Mr. President, the people of Haiti have endured far too much for far too long. The scale of violence and displacement are simply unacceptable. The space for violence and impunity must now close. Those who continue to fuel instability will face increasing constraints, while those who choose to step away from violence will find that there is a different path forward. This is a focused and time-bound effort to support Haiti in addressing urgent security challenges. It will require sustained international support, disciplined implementation, and realistic expectations. The GSF is designed not as an end in itself, but as a means to enable Haitian institutions to regain control and to create the conditions for longer-term stability. We remain committed to working in close partnership with the government and people of Haiti, with the United Nations, and with member states and regional groups. Thank you.
I thank Mr. Christofides for his briefing. I now give the floor to those council members who wish to make statement. I give the floor to the representative of United States.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, SRSG Ruiz Miso and Special Representative Christofides for their briefings today. I also want to thank Haiti's Prime Minister Fils-Aimé and our U.S. Ambassador to the Organization of American States, Lee Rizzuto, for joining us today. The United States is pleased to see the completion of the Transitional Presidential Council mandate and the successful transfer of power to Prime Minister Fils-Aimé and his council members, and his council of ministers. As noted in the Secretary General's report, terrorist gangs continue to perpetuate violence against the Haitian people, including rape, ransom, robbery, and murder, while operations to fight back against terrorist gangs intensify, showing measurable, if fragile, progress. To meet Haiti's call for assistance in countering gang violence, this council authorized the Gang Suppression Force last September to counter the gangs terrorizing the Haitian people and destabilizing the Western Hemisphere. We are not measuring success by what international forces can achieve in Haiti. We are measuring success by how quickly Haiti will no longer need them. The GSF is designed to work in support of, not in place of, Haitian institutions. It is designed to create space for Haitian forces to expand, professionalize, and ultimately assume responsibility. That transition has begun. It is worth reminding that the GSF, with both military and police units, will grow to 5,500 personnel conducting intelligence-led operations and securing critical infrastructure. And it will operate under a clear command structure consistent with a mandate to neutralize, isolate, and deter gangs. The GSF will also benefit from a UN logistics backbone through an innovative hybrid mission model. Altogether, this represents a formidable combination to accelerate baseline security and shape conditions to improve Haiti's long-term stability. Since September, the standing group of partners to the GSF and the UN have moved rapidly to stand up the GSF and the UN Support Office in Haiti. This month marks several important milestones. First, GSF Special Representative Christofides and his initial staff are on the ground, launching the civilian staff's critical leadership, oversight, and support functions. We are pleased the Council heard directly from the Special Representative today. Second, the UN Support Office in Haiti assumed responsibility for the GSF with the logistical support needed to carry out its mandate. And third, additional troop and police contributing countries are arriving in Port-au-Prince, building through sustained deployments to reach its full authorized force. We are grateful to Kenya for its extended leadership of the MSS mission, as well as to Guatemala, El Salvador, Jamaica, Belize, and the Bahamas for their service. As we know, stability cannot be won through security forces alone. This GSF mandate addresses the security crisis threatening the sovereignty of the Haitian state. But we break the cycle of violence by pairing credible off-ramps with real economic opportunity. So when the guns fall silent, jobs may follow. We call on the international community to help us win peace for the long haul, injecting sorely needed investments through capital, infrastructure, and job creation to keep impoverished next generation leaders from returning to the deadly path of gang violence. Responsible governance return to elected governance. The United States welcomes BNU's work to ensure alignment on electoral assistance among international partners to support a coherent and efficient process. We are pleased with the reconstitution of Haiti's National Commission for Disarmament, Dismantlement, and Reintegration. We applaud BNU to implement a coherent plan expeditiously. As areas are cleared and held, Haiti's government can focus on providing essential services to the people who will recover as quickly as the economy can rebuild. International support remains crucial to this imperative. We note and will review the Secretary General's forthcoming report on the range of options and costs related to the implementation of a Haitian-led DDR program, as well as justice reform as mandated by Resolution 2814. The United States stands with Haiti and will continue working with Haitians and international partners towards the stabilization of the country. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the United States for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Panama.
And Kenya. We recognize their solidarity with Haiti and their leadership at the helm of the multinational security support mission. The sisterly Republic of Haiti, a historic pioneer in the liberation from slavery and colonial domination, today is experiencing a crisis where the violence of a few prevents those who do not hold weapons from living a normal life. These people, therefore, continue suffering in a National Pact for Stability and the organization of elections, which was adopted on the 21st of February. It is an important step to preserve the political continuity and institutionality of the country. In the face of the alarming reality that around 50% of gang members are minors, victims of a lack of opportunities, and forced recruitment, Panama would like to highlight the reactivation of the National Commission for Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration as a positive and crucial step to offer safe exit ways and a way to break the cycle of violence. Only a few days ago, we witnessed the massacre of 70 people in Artibonite, a fact that reflects in a heartbreaking manner the gravity of the situation. We would also like to express our solidarity with the families of the over 2,444 people murdered during the period of the report, as well as the 302 victims of sexual violence, which disproportionately affects women and girls, and of which an alarming and unacceptable 77% are cases of gang rape. In this context, we would like to highlight the operationalization of the United Nations Support Office in Haiti and the staggered arrival of the contingent from Chad as part of the transition to the gang suppression force. Nevertheless, we cannot but point out with concern the attack that happened during this deployment, and we would also like to recognize the support from the Dominican Republic when this serious incident happened. This incident is a tangible illustration of how deficiencies in the implementation of the arms embargo, beyond feeding the violence, can also have direct consequences on the safety of deployed personnel and the success of the mission. President, allow me to refer to reported cases of sexual abuse and exploitation against women and girls linked to Kenyan personnel in the MSS. This behavior is absolutely unacceptable, and it is incompatible with the principles that should guide any operation under the aegis of the United Nations. This is why they should not happen again. This is why we would like to reiterate the importance of ensuring accountability and protection for victims. Resolution 2793 of 2025 establishes clear safeguards when it comes to prevention, behavior, supervision, and investigation. Its effective implementation is crucial. Panama must also point out the risks of using drones in highly populated areas. We would also like to underline the importance of establishing clear mechanisms of communication with humanitarian actors on the ground in order to safeguard their operational capacity in the safest way possible. President, the Security Council's response to the Haitian crisis rests upon a comprehensive architecture includes the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti, peace, security, and the well-being that its people not only deserves, but is also entitled to as a right. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Panama for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of United Kingdom.
Thank you, President. I would like to begin by welcoming Prime Minister Fiseme to this council for today's session, alongside other senior representatives. And I would also like to thank SRSG Ruiz Massieu and Special Representative Christofides for their briefings. We note the positive indicators of progress set out by the briefers today. In particular, we will promote national unity towards the holding of free and fair elections, including the National Pact for Stability and the organisation of elections. However, the situation remains fragile. This council meets at a critical time when planning for the gang suppression force has shifted to on-the-ground deployment. We welcome the arrival of the first contingents from Chad in Port-au-Prince. It is important these deployments are scaled up to allow for effective and strategic operations against the gangs in line with the framework authorised by this council in Resolution 2793, which includes robust child protection measures. We call on the government to prioritise protection of vulnerable groups and fully implement the handover protocol for children associated with gangs. This includes the establishment of the promised task force and framework to ensure compliance. We look forward to the next update from the Secretary-General, including options for the UN to support nationally led disarmament, demobilisation and reintegration. It is important that the Haitian government dedicates resources to ensuring children are treated primarily as victims and can enter fit-for-purpose DDR programs. President, an estimated 1 in 8 people in Haiti are now internally displaced. Half of them are children. It is imperative that the government ensures that these internally displaced persons can access social programs. Support must reach those most vulnerable. Often, these are women and girls who have faced horrific crimes of sexual and gender-based violence before experiencing further hardship in makeshift settlements where further exploitation and abuse can occur. President, to conclude, there is tangible
Bienvenue hospitalier communautaire Fabrice, votre partenaire santé. Nous offrons une gamme complète de services médicaux allant des consultations spécialisées aux urgences, 7 jours sur 7, 24 heures sur. Vous trouverez des services offerts comme médecine familiale, algologie, pédiatrie, nutrition, ophtalmologie, odontologie, chirurgie, sonographie, laboratoire, pharmacie, planning familial, gynécologie, accouchement, ECG, ORG. Notre équipe dévouée est là pour vous accompagner à chaque étape de votre parcours de santé. N'oubliez pas, prendre soin de votre santé aujourd'hui, c'est investir dans votre avenir. Pour plus d'informations, contactez-nous au numéro 46 23 50 52. Votre santé, notre priorité. Bienvenue au centre hospitalier communautaire Fabrice, votre partenaire santé. Nous offrons une gamme complète de services médicaux allant des consultations spécialisées aux urgences, 7 jours sur 7, sur 24. Vous trouverez des services offerts.
And sometimes the sacrifice made by all TCCs, primarily Kenya. The transition to the GSF must be guided by the triple imperative of avoiding a security vacuum on the ground to enable the launch as soon as possible in good conditions of operations against criminal gangs and to ensure exemplary behaviour to prevent all forms of abuse and violence. France lends its support to establishing this force, both technically and financially, and it also welcomes the commitment of the EU and the OIF for Haiti. Mr. President, we are now living at a point in time that requires the entire international community to take responsibility. The Council has responded to the brotherly call of Haiti. It did this by establishing BINU, which is up and running now, and France welcomes the UN teams who've made this possible. It's done this also by renewing the mandate it's set up UNSO rather, and it has renewed the mandate of BINU by giving it a task to support the Haitian authorities for disarmament, dismantlement, and reintegrating the judicial system and the Haitian penitentiary systems. But more needs to be done. Sir, this is only going to have a long-term impact if the Haitian authorities also shoulder their responsibility and strengthen the ability of the Haitian National Police and the Haitian Armed Forces and assure control of borders. France will continue to contribute here bilaterally and will stand alongside the courageous Haitian people to stop the cycle of violence that has gone on for too long. Thank you.
I thank the representative of France for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Mr. President, I have the honor of making this statement on behalf of the A3, Liberia, Somalia, and my own country, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. We would first like to welcome the presence of His Excellency Alix Didier Fils-Aimé, Prime Minister of Haiti. We would like to thank the Special Representative of the Secretary General, Mr. Carlos Monsieur, as well as Mr. Christofides, Special Representative of the Gang Suppression Force, for their comprehensive presentations. We take note of the Secretary General's report, and we reaffirm the continued engagement of the United Nations through the UN Integrated Office in Haiti, BINU. Mr. President, despite the fragility and the volatility of the political and security context, we must recognize that Haiti has entered a decisive political phase by preserving institutional continuity and upholding a new dynamic towards a return to constitutional order. Indeed, we welcome the peaceful handover of the executive power on the 7th of February to the Council of Ministers after the end of the mandate of the Transitional Presidential Council. And it must be underlined, this transition, which was done on the basis of Article 149 of the 1987 amended Constitution, is a vital step in order to maintain stability in the state. In terms of the political process, the A3 welcomes the intersectoral mobilization that led to the signing of the National Pact for Stability and the Organization of Elections, which was published on the 23rd of February and brought together 350 signatories. This pact reaffirms that safety and elections are the consensus-based pathway towards reestablishing democratic institutions. And we encourage the Haitian authorities to continue engaging in a dialogue with non-signatories of the National Pact in order to ensure a broad national appropriation and inclusivity, elements which continue to be crucial for the legitimacy of the electoral process. And speaking of the electoral process, the A3 welcome the end of the registration phase of political parties between the 2nd and the 12th of March 2026. It is a key technical step in order to advance toward the preparations for elections. Among other things, we call upon the Haitian authorities, with the support of their partners, to immediately address legal, financial, and remaining operational challenges in this path towards elections. And by this, we mean the finalization of the electoral framework and mobilizing sufficient resources. The A3, moreover, welcomed the reactivation of the National Commission for Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration, which is in charge of spearheading efforts to reduce community violence. We also welcome efforts deployed to ensure the leadership of women within the public administration, especially the nomination of 5 women at the ministerial level, which increased female representation to around 28%. We recognize that this is an achievement, but we also hope that consultations can continue with all of the parties in order to increase national support and ensure a peaceful handover of power to elected representatives. Mr. President, when it comes to security, the situation continues to be deeply alarming and demands urgent action. The Haitian National Police and support forces have been able to neutralize 1,343 gang members in recent operations. The total number of victims of homicides rose by 28.8% during the period under consideration. Gangs continue to commit atrocious human rights violations, especially in acts of generalized violence and by recruiting children. This practice rose by an estimated 200% in 2025. In this context, the A3 welcome the operationalization of the United Nations Support Office in Haiti, which on the 31st of March 2026 reached the objectives in its mandate in order to provide total logistical and operational support to the gang suppression force. We call upon member states to accelerate the comprehensive deployment of the gang suppression force in order to strengthen stabilization efforts carried out by the Haitian authorities and to avoid any possible security gap. The A3 pays tribute to the constant efforts and the sacrifices of the staff working in the multinational security support mission. Their work has paved the way for the deployment of the GSF president. When it comes to the humanitarian situation and the situation relating to the rule of law, the Haitian crisis demands an immediate international response. The number of people displaced within the country has risen to over 1.45 million, and more than half of these are children. This situation is exacerbating pressure on services already under strain. Food insecurity continues to be generalized. 5.7 million people are facing acute food insecurity, and important farmland is being abandoned due to the violence. When it comes to the legal system, we welcome the holding on the 19th of January of the National Caravan to reduce prison overcrowding. However, we are concerned that over 82% of the prison population in the country is still held in pretrial detention. Moreover, the A3 is deeply concerned by the low financing of the 2026 Humanitarian Response Plan, 18.4% only in the month of March 2026. We urge international partners to align their assistance to the priorities defined at the national level and to provide the necessary predictable resources to respond to critical needs. To conclude, Mr. President, the A3 reaffirm once again our firm commitment to the sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity of Haiti. We are determined to support a process that is coherent, balanced, and led by Haitians themselves. The Haitian crisis deserves a credible exit toward peace, stability, inclusive democratic governance, and sustainable development. We would also like to welcome the courage and devotion of United Nations staff working in very difficult conditions in Haiti, and we would also like to reaffirm our constant implication in Council discussions on this crucial file. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Democratic Republic of the Congo for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Pakistan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would also like to join colleagues in extending a very warm welcome to His Excellency, the Prime Minister of Haiti, to this meeting. And I thank SRSG Carlos Macio for his comprehensive briefing and express my delegation's full support for BNU's critical work in Haiti, including its good officer's role. And I also thank Mr. Jack Christofides for his briefing. President, Haiti's long-drawn and multidimensional crisis remains a matter of concern for the region and indeed a challenge for the international community. The SRSG's briefing is encouraging. He has reported signs of progress, but he has also told us that while progress is real, the context remains fragile and that a security response alone will not suffice. And that is evident. And despite optimistic developments in the political arena in recent times, security dilemmas, escalating violence, governance predicaments, and socioeconomic downturn have continued to exact a terrible toll on the Haitian people. Haiti's future hinges on the decisive choices of the country's leadership and all stakeholders, for it is their decisions, calibrated, responsible, with a singular yet pivotal objective of a secure and dignified future for all Haitians that will deliver the much needed peace, stability, and progress for Haiti and its people. We take note in this regard of the smooth political transition post 7th February and commend all political actors for their constructive engagement. The National Pact for Stability and Organization of Elections is a welcome development, and we hope it will allow space to all stakeholders for acting with a sense of purpose for the country's stability. We remain hopeful that the Haitian authorities would continue to make progress in the electoral process for holding of national elections within nationally determined and realistic timelines. President, we share the concerns on the level of violence in Haiti, including attacks carried out by the armed gangs. And we condemn all such attacks. We have noted with concern the recent security incident reported by DOS to this Council and hope that the new security arrangements put in place through Security Council Resolution 2793 would help secure critical infrastructure in Haiti. And we also appreciate the smooth setting up of UN Support Office in Haiti within the prescribed timelines. The recruitment and exploitation of children by gangs remains a matter of concern, and in this context, we appreciate BNU's role in supporting DDR and CVR strategies to address these vital issues. We welcome the role of regional countries and other international partners to advance political security and humanitarian support to Haiti in a sustainable manner. International support is a means and not an end in itself. Coordinated efforts aimed at building the capacity of the Haitian state in line with Haitian needs would therefore be critical. President, Haiti's path to lasting peace and stability rests on unified actions by the Haitians themselves and all the partners, including this Council. The people of Haiti have waited too long for a peaceful future and an opportunity to spend their lives in an environment free from violence and instability. And SRSG Masio termed this a pivotal moment, while Mr. Christofides called it a turning point. I think this moment must be seized. And Pakistan is committed to supporting Haiti's journey towards peace in the spirit of solidarity and shared responsibility. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Pakistan for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Colombia.
Gracias.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to thank the Special Representative of the Secretary General, Carlos Ruiz-Massieu, and the Special Representative for the Gang Suppression Force, Jack Christofides, for their reports. I would like to give a special welcome to His Excellency, the Prime Minister Alex Didier Fils-Aimé, and to all the delegations that have joined us today. Before I begin, I would like to extend, Mr. Prime Minister, our condolences to the Haitian people due to the tragic accident that happened in Citadel La Ferrière, where over 30 people lost their lives, many of them minors. Madam President, Colombia reiterates its strong support for Haiti in its efforts to advance towards reestablishing its full institutionality, as well as the rule of law, and in their efforts to overcome this multidimensional crisis in the framework of principles of solidarity, cooperation, and commitment to peace and security in the region. In this vein, Colombia is moving forward in its implementation of its bilateral work plan with Haiti, which integrates actions in the spheres of cooperation, trade, and humanitarian assistance. Colombia recognizes important progress during the period covered by the report. Specifically, we value the agreement on a new governance arrangement for the transition after the expiry of the mandate of the Presidential Council, as well as the adoption of the National Pact for Stability and the Organization of Elections. These steps confirm that national dialogue continues to be the only viable path towards stability. Moreover, we would like to highlight the reactivation of the National Commission for Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration, as well as progress in the registry of political parties and measures to strengthen internal controls and public trust in the authorities, specifically the National Police. We would also like to welcome the adoption of the annual work plan of the Ministry for Women and the increase in female representation in the ministerial cabinet. Colombia urges the Haitian authorities to advance in the effective implementation of these policies and to redouble their efforts when it comes to gender equality. Madam President, Colombia recognizes that there has been improvement in the coordination with the security forces, which has allowed to advance in the recovery of certain areas in the capital. Nevertheless, these achievements continue to be fragile. Consolidating them will depend on the capacity of the Haitian state to assume essential functions and consolidate the rule of law. In this context, my country calls upon the security sector in Haiti, including the gang suppression force, to strictly comply with the most rigorous human rights standards, due diligence, and accountability. The protection of the civilian population should be the lodestar of any operation. It cannot be considered merely collateral damage. The rise in the recruitment of minors on behalf of the gangs is alarming. Numbers reflect the urgency of implementing effective mechanisms for the safe exit and the reintegration of boys, girls, and youth associated to these gangs, and the relevance of adopting strategies to prevent recruitment. In these efforts, the support of BNU and the country team of the United Nations will be key. Madam President, the report highlights that structural challenges do persist. Haiti needs to move forward in the strengthening of its institutions when it comes to security, justice, social inclusion, political dialogue, economic development, and the recovery of their ecosystems. No response that is purely military will be sufficient. It is also necessary to have a firm commitment to democracy, justice, and the rule of law from all sectors. Colombia notes with concern the lack of results when it comes to high-profile investigations, and we are closely following the recent decisions related to the establishment of specialized jurisdictions for high-ranking government officials. Our history has taught us that there can be no peace without justice. The fight against impunity, and in particular against those who finance, incite, or benefit from the violence, is indispensable to build a sustainable peace. Colombia trusts that Haiti will be able to advance to hold inclusive elections, and the legitimacy of the process will depend on assurances for the effective participation of the entire population, specifically women, youth, people who have been displaced, the diaspora, and populations living in areas controlled by the gangs. My country would like to reiterate the importance of strengthening the capacity of national authorities to create timely progress when it comes to security, public services, and preparations for the elections. This will strengthen institutional credibility and trust in the transition process. Colombia reiterates its solidarity with the Haitian people and its commitment to continue supporting the country in the reestablishment of their democratic order and the rule of law, as well as stabilizing security, sustainable development.
Representative of China.
President, I thank SRSG Monsieur and Special Representative Krista Fides for their briefings and welcome the Interim Prime Minister of Haiti and the representatives of the Dominican Republic, Trinidad and Tobago, Kenya, and OIF to today's meeting. The multiple crises in Haiti has dragged on for a long time. Haiti's slow political progress, complex and severe security situation, weak national governance, and deteriorating economic and humanitarian conditions have severely hampered its stable development and seriously undermined the confidence of its people and the international community in the country's future. Consolidating signs of progress and breaking the vicious cycle of crisis require a comprehensive approach that addresses both symptoms and root causes. I'd like to make 4 points. First, there's a need to restore political stability at an early date. The fundamental solution to the Haitian crisis lies in advancing a Haitian-owned and Haitian-led political process, with the country itself assuming primary responsibility for its governance. For many years, the political transition in Haiti has seen multiple setbacks. The goals of forming a legitimate government and restoring political stability have yet to be achieved. We hope that all parties in the country demonstrate firm political will, strengthen unity and cooperation, take substantive steps in areas such as political dialogue and election preparation, create favorable conditions for enhancing governance capacities and stabilizing the chaotic situation, and prevent further delay in the political transition. We support BNU and CARICOM, among others, in continuing to provide assistance in this regard. Second, there's a need to effectively improve security situation. The complex security situation in Haiti means that the authorities should strengthen security governance in earnest and create and effectively implement long-term strategies to reduce violence and prevent gang recruitment among groups. Any international security support must respect Haiti's sovereignty, strictly comply with international law, and exercise the utmost caution in the use of force. China has taken note of the progress in the deployment of the relevant international forces and hopes that the country leading the forces will act responsibly toward the Haitian people, this Council, and the international community, maintain transparency in specific operations, and promptly brief the Security Council so that this Council can maintain close attention and rigorous oversight. Third, there's a need to focus on enhancing arms control. The continued flow of illegal arms and ammunition into the hands of gangs is a major cause of the never-ending violence in Haiti. Cutting off the flow of arms and ammunition at the source is the only way to effectively prevent gang violence from harming innocent civilians and ensure that external security support can play an effective role. We urge the international community, in particular the main source country of arms and ammunition, to strictly implement the Council's arms embargo. We call on the Haitian authorities to strengthen the control of arms and ammunition and expect continued assistance from regional countries and agencies such as UNODC. The Sanctions Committee and this Council should enhance oversight of relevant progress. Fourth, there's a need to keep investing more in people's livelihoods. Underdevelopment and dire living conditions are key root causes of Haiti's prolonged instability. The country's socio-economic conditions continue to deteriorate, with 60% of its people living below the poverty line. This drives a large number of people, especially youth and children, to join gangs out of desperation. China calls on the Haitian authorities to increase investment in development, strengthen basic public services, help its people secure basic necessities such as food, education, employment, and health care, and create conditions to enhance its endogenous drivers for self-sustained development. We support the UN, international financial institutions, regional organizations, and others in assisting the country to restore development, improve livelihoods, and eliminate the conditions that breed violence. President, China commends RCSG Monsieur for leading BNU in overcoming difficulties and carrying out its work proactively. We look forward to the continued assistance by BNU to help Haiti in effectively addressing its multiple crises. Ultimately, the key to resolving the Haitian crisis lies in the hands of the Haitian people. China is ready to work with the international community to play a constructive role in helping the Haitian people emerge from the crisis and achieve long-term peace and stability at an early date. Thank you, President.
I thank the representative of China for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Latvia.
Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Madam. First and foremost, I would like to wish a warm welcome to the Prime Minister of Haiti, Mr. Alex Didier Fils-Aimé. And I would also like to wish a warm welcome to Mr. Carlos Ruiz-Massieu, SRSG, and Mr. Jack Christofides, Special Representative for the Gang Suppression Force, for their detailed briefings. Madam, we welcome the peaceful transition of power in Haiti in February, and we welcome the establishment of the Council of Ministers that has 5 female ministers under the leadership of Prime Minister Fils-Aimé, while armed groups continue to dispute territory and to attack the Haitian population and the humanitarian crisis worsens. Institutional continuity and inclusive national dialogue are crucial for the legitimacy of the political process and the re-establishment of public trust. We also welcome the adoption of the National Pact for Stability and the Organization of Elections in Haiti. This brings together a broad group of stakeholders and reflects political consensus. In the future, the commitments laid out in the pact require effective implementation, as underscored by SRSG Mr. Massieu, in order to ensure free, fair, safe and inclusive elections in Haiti. Strengthening security measures and the electoral process must continue in parallel. Such an approach should enable Haitians to ensure their names are on electoral registers, to campaign and to vote in safety. This is crucial for legitimate, credible electoral results. We take note of the information according to which the election calendar may be postponed to August. Whilst the safety of candidates and voters is crucial, Haiti must re-establish constitutional order as quickly as possible, and it is highly desirable for the first round of elections to take place before the end of the year. We would encourage the Haitian government to continue preparing for a reasonable electoral budget that matches the other urgent national needs and to implement the electoral operational plan without delay. Whilst the homicide rate in Haiti is one of the highest in America in the world, and gang violence continues to destroy and devastate Haitian lives, we do welcome the establishment of UNSO in Haiti. This is an important step that enables the deployment as well of the gang suppression force.
Entrusted GSF with a responsibility of exceptional magnitude and historic significance. We expect the GSF to carry out its mandate with effectiveness, accountability, transparency, and in close coordination with national authorities and international partners. While intensified anti-gang operations have led to some important security gains during the reporting period, we encourage all stakeholders to ensure that any use of lethal force is rigorously assessed and proportionate to prevent civilian harm. We recall the importance of compliance with international human rights law and international humanitarian law, including the principles of distinction and proportionality at all times. This means integrating gender and child protection expertise into planning and operations. We emphasize that BINU's support to the GSF in safeguarding human rights must remain strong and consistent, even if at times it seems to be a highly complicated task. We condemn in strongest possible terms the ongoing human rights violations in Haiti, particularly against women and children. It is imperative that the perpetrators committing targeted killings, extortion, gender-based sexual violence, and child trafficking for recruitment and exploitation are brought to justice. Success in combating impunity largely depends on the effectiveness of cooperation between the Haitian National Police and the Haitian judicial system. Law enforcement action must be matched by credible investigations, timely prosecutions, and fair adjudication, ensuring that arrests lead to convictions grounded in full respect of due process. And we acknowledge the progress made in the ongoing operationalization of 2 specialized judicial units for the investigation and prosecution of crimes, including mass killings and sexual violence, financial crimes and corruption. Let me recall that widespread corruption is one of the most serious structural causes of a weak state and gang violence in Haiti, and needs to be tackled consistently at all levels of the governance structures. We welcome the Haitian government's decision to reactivate the National Commission for Disarmament, Dismantlement and Reintegration, and BINU's immediate outreach to its counterpart to provide technical advice on addressing gang violence. BINU and the UN country team can provide valuable guidance in supporting the development of a national DDR strategy. Moving forward, to sustain security gains over the long term, it is of utmost importance that the national DDR strategy and implementation processes are effective. Only a solid, dedicated, comprehensive long-term DDR strategy, timely implemented, will put an end to recurring gang and community violence in Haiti. Child protection must remain an immediate priority under DDR, as approximately half of those associated with the gangs are children, who first and foremost should be seen as victims of trafficking, recruitment, and exploitation. And we emphasize the role of the handover protocol established by the UN and Haitian authorities in 2024, and the need for full and consistent implementation as key to protecting children. Finally, at this decisive time for Haiti, Latvia continues to fully support BINU in its work to foster inclusive political dialogue, strengthen institutions and rule of law, and promote governance grounded in accountability and respect for human rights for the Haitian people to finally live in security and dignity. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Latvia for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Greece.
Madam President, at the outset, I would like to thank SRSG Mathieu and GSF Special Representative Christofidis for their briefings. I also welcome the presence of His Excellency Alix Didier Fils-Aimé, the Prime Minister of Haiti, in the meeting. The full establishment of the UN Support Office in Haiti and the gradual deployment of the gang suppression force should mark a turning point, with a focus on stabilizing the security environment and dismantling criminal gangs. At the same time, the political transition must proceed in tandem to ensure free, fair, and safe elections as soon as security conditions permit this. In view of the above, I would like to make 3 points. First, Greece appreciates the peaceful and timely transfer of executive power from the Transitional Presidential Council to the Council of Ministers under Prime Minister Fils-Aimé. We reiterate our support for the Prime Minister and his priorities of restoring security and organizing elections. Any adjustments to the electoral calendar must aim solely at safeguarding optimal security conditions. We welcome the National Pact for Stability and the organization of elections and encourage all Haitian political stakeholders to endorse it, remaining genuinely committed to the political transition and contribute decisively to the efforts led by the Prime Minister to shape Haiti's next chapter. We further applaud the appointment of 5 women ministers following the cabinet reshuffle, a crucial step towards women's inclusive participation in the political process. We acknowledge the progress in the electoral preparations, most notably the registration of political parties, as credible elections remain the only path to restoring constitutional order. In this regard, I wish to emphasize the indispensable role of BINU in supporting Haitian authorities throughout the transitional period, facilitating inter-Haitian political dialogue and providing technical assistance for electoral preparations. Second, while anti-gang operations have achieved some tactical successes, primarily in the capital, the security situation remains fragile. Gangs continue to perpetrate killings, widespread human rights abuses, sexual and gender-based violence, and trafficking and recruitment of children. We repeat our strong condemnation of these atrocities and remain confident that the gradual deployment of the GSF will yield concrete security results. In this regard, yesterday we announced a financial contribution to the United Nations Trust Fund in support of the GSF. We commend all member states that have pledged personnel to the GSF while underscoring that all counter-gang operations must strictly adhere to international human rights standards to prevent excessive use of force. In parallel, we welcome the operationalization of UNSO and the appointment of Ms. Daniela Kroslak as its head, offering our unwavering support as she assumes this vital role. Third, Haiti remains one of the most dangerous places to be a child, with children comprising half of gang members and more than 500,000 displaced. Against this backdrop, we welcome the long-awaited re-establishment of the National Commission for Disarmament, Dismantlement, and Reintegration and the appointment of its members. We are hopeful that the reactivation of the Commission will contribute to child recruitment prevention, violence reduction, and the design and implementation of safe exit and rehabilitation strategies for children and youth. At the same time, the justice system must be reformed to manage the projected increase in arrests following GSF deployment, with a specific focus on ending prolonged pretrial detention, especially for children. Madam President, as Haiti is hopefully about to enter a new era with the gradual deployment of the GSF, Greece remains committed to supporting the nation's path towards security stabilization and nationally owned democratic political transition and sustainable development. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Greece for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Denmark.
Thank you, Madam President. And I also thank SRSG Ruiz Massieu and GSF Special Representative Christofides for their briefings. And I welcome the participation of His Excellency the Prime Minister Fils-Aimé in this meeting. Today's briefing has detailed significant steps made in laying the foundation to restore Haiti's security, democracy, and rule of law. However, given the scale of Haiti's challenges, urgent progress is still needed. Madam President, with this in mind, allow me to make 3 points. First, Denmark remains alarmed by the dire security situation in Haiti. We welcome that the UN Support Office in Haiti became fully operational on 1st April. This office will be crucial in supporting international security assistance. We commend the UN for ensuring the timely opening of this office in line with Resolution 2793, despite the challenges in security and infrastructure. Denmark further welcomes the arrival of new personnel from Chad as part of the gang suppression force and calls on member states to accelerate and complete their deployment. All efforts, national and international, towards the establishment of security in Haiti must be undertaken in strict compliance with international law. We reiterate that the GSF must operate with the highest standard of conduct and discipline, with robust oversight and transparency. We are deeply alarmed by reports of accusations of sexual exploitation and abuse made against personnel in the multinational security support mission. All accusations must be thoroughly and objectively investigated and accountability ensured. We also underscore the need for the full implementation of the UN sanctions regime on Haiti, especially the arms embargo, to stem the flow of weapons exacerbating the security crisis. Second, Mr. President, Denmark remains deeply concerned by the catastrophic humanitarian and human rights situation in Haiti. More than half of Haiti's population is facing acute food insecurity, and over 6 million people require humanitarian assistance. Internal displacement continues to climb, while access to basic services is collapsing. We call on member states to scale up funding to Haiti's humanitarian response plan, which remains desperately underfunded. Human rights in Haiti continue to be under attack. Gangs commit widespread abuses, including killings, maiming, and trafficking. The scale and brutality of sexual and gender-based violence, including rape, is particularly alarming, with women and girls subjected to widespread and often systematic abuse. We strongly condemn all violations against children, including the sharp increase in recruitment by gangs. On this note, we welcome the reactivation of the National Commission for Disarmament, Dismantlement and Reintegration, and underline the need to advance a credible, Haitian-led DDR strategy. This must include viable pathways for disengagement, particularly for children and youth. Third, Mr. President, on the political situation, Denmark welcomes the peaceful transfer of executive authority on 7 February, following the expiration of the Transitional Presidential Council and the efforts to preserve institutional continuity. We take note of the National Pact for Stability and the organization of elections as an important Haitian-led initiative to advance the transition. We emphasize the need to translate commitments into concrete actions and encourage inclusive inter-Haitian dialogue to advance the political process. We acknowledge the progress made on electoral preparations and call on Haitian stakeholders to maintain momentum towards credible, inclusive, and timely elections. This will require sustained political commitment, adequate financing, and improved security conditions. Mr. President, in closing, Denmark reaffirms its strong commitment to the people of Haiti on their path to peace and security. The international community and this Council must remain steadfast in supporting Haitian-led efforts towards stability, rule of law, and a return to democratic government. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Denmark for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Russian Federation.
Mr. President, we would like to thank the Special Representative, the Secretary General, Carlos Ruiz Massieu, and the Special Representative for the Gang Suppression Force, Jack Christofides, for their briefings. We welcome to the meeting the Prime Minister of Haiti, Mr. Alix Didier Fils-Aimé. The situation in this Caribbean state for some years now has been on the brink of disaster. However, the events of recent months, as noted in the briefers' statements, provide hope for a long-awaited end in the country to the spiral of violence and impunity that's been reigning. Whether this hope can be turned into lasting prospects to a large extent depends on successful presidential elections that should be a key step on the path to restoring constitutional order and legitimate authorities in the country. We note the measures taken by the transitional government to prepare for the elections, and we trust that the vote will be organised, if not in strict compliance with the initial plans, then as soon as possible. The Haitians need international support to organise and conduct the elections, and this role has recently become the focus of the mandate of BNU, the UN Integrated Office in Haiti. We are convinced that under the leadership of Carlos Ruiz Massieu and in coordination with the other international presences in the country, the UN Special Political Mission will provide Port-au-Prince with as much assistance as possible. However, there's a need to completely avoid external interference in the electoral process itself after 2 centuries of colonial intervention, blackmail, demeaning reparations and predatory loans. Haitians deserve the opportunity to determine their own future by themselves. The main issue is to ensure security for a representative vote. The numerous gangs, despite the heroic efforts of the Haitian police, these gangs continue to maintain brutal control over a significant part of the country and its population. They are still unhindered, buying weapons smuggled from the US, ignoring the arms embargo that only functions nominally. In order to dislodge the gangs from their embedded positions, the island has seen the start of the deployment of the Gang Suppression Force, the GSF, and UNSO. We recognise the prompt and effective actions of the Standing Group of Partners and the Secretariat, which have enabled conditions to be put in place for the arrival on the island of the first troops this month. We are grateful to all TCCs for their resolve to help the Haitians. However, it is clear that the deployment of the GSF in Haiti is not going to be a walk in the park. Gang members will inevitably mount fierce resistance, and the new troops will face real ordeals in the future in the country. Given the arrival of the first units of the force and the high hopes pinned on them, I'd like to point out 2 points. Firstly, given the parallel withdrawal of the Kenyan troops from Haiti, a situation might occur whereby the number of GSF personnel is even lower than the 1,000 personnel who were deployed as part of the previous multinational security support mission. It's important to prevent a security vacuum and reversals in the fragile results achieved by the troops under the leadership of Nairobi. Secondly, the GSF was given a very broad and vague mandate for the use of force, which, inter alia, meant that we were not able at the time to support the resolution on its establishment. I'm not going to get into the details, but the CONOPS and the rules for the use of force by which the mission is guided, we're sure will be used responsibly, but we'd like to draw attention to the crucial need to respect the rights of and to protect the lives of Haitian civilians and primarily children. Many of them, unfortunately, have been recruited into criminal gangs and are going to fire at peacekeepers, and this will raise the difficult challenge of choosing how to respond to and properly treat minors. We see the potential here for joint work between Port-au-Prince and the international presences in Haiti, first and foremost as part of the recently established National Commission on Disarmament and Dismantling of Armed Groups and Reintegration. The potential violations in this area would leave a stain on the reputation of the entire international community and the UN Security Council, which set up the mission. In this regard, Russia, as a permanent member of the Security Council, is going to continue to closely monitor the progress in operationalizing the GSF and will ensure due international control for its work. I thank you.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation for the statement. I shall now make a statement in my capacity as the representative of Bahrain. Ashab al-Saada.
Excellencies, allow me to welcome His Excellency Alex Didier Félix Fils-Aimé, Prime Minister of Haiti, in our session today. I would also like to thank the Secretary General for his report, and I thank Mr. Carlos Ruiz Massieu, the Special Representative of the Secretary General and Head of the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti. I also thank Mr. Jack Christofides, the Special Representative for the Gang Suppression Force, for their valuable briefings. I also welcome the permanent representatives of the Dominican Republic, the Trinidad and Tobago, Kenya, and the permanent observer of the International Organization of La Francophonie. The Kingdom of Bahrain is following the political, security, and humanitarian situations in Haiti. In light of the Secretary General report on Haiti, I would like to stress 3 key points. 1. We welcome the Haitian efforts in holding the consultations with all relevant parties, which led to the signing of the National Charter and the National Pact for Stability, which is a national track for holding free and credible elections that could lead to security and stability in the country. This is a political initiative led by Haitians. We also welcome the recent ministerial amendment, which led to the appointment of 5 women ministers. The percentage of women representation increased to 28%. This proves that the role of women is being promoted in the political process. 2, we stress the need to continue making every effort to ensure security, the rule of law, and fighting violence by gangs. in order to ensure compliance with international humanitarian standards. We also welcome the efforts of the Gang Suppression Force, and we stress the need to continue its deployment and to promote its readiness, operational readiness, to support national authorities in fighting security challenges and contributing to the protection of civilians, stability, and sustainable security while preventing the recurrence of conflicts. 3, we stress the importance of collective international efforts and working with the UN Support Office in Haiti as well as the Gang Suppression Force to support Haiti and support its people in countering these challenges in order to ensure its security and promote development and peace. This could also help in alleviating the continued violence and preventing the forced recruitment of children as well as internal displacement and food insecurity. We also stress our support to the UN Integrated Office in Haiti in its work to promote the political process and accelerate the preparations for the elections. In conclusion, we renew our solidarity with the Republic of Haiti and its people. We stress that we are committed to working together with the international community and the United Nations to overcome the current challenges and ensure a safer, more stable future for the friendly Haitian people. Thank you.
I resume my function as a President of the Council. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Alex Tede Felzami, Prime Minister of the Republic of Haiti.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Council. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Ambassador of the Kingdom of Bahrain and the President of the Council for this opportunity that has been given to me to speak to this august assembly. Your commitment to peace remains a source of hope for Haiti. I would also like to thank the members of the Council for the ongoing attention given to the situation in Haiti. Holding this special session since the Gang Suppression Force was deployed on the 1st of April illustrates the resolve of the international community to assist Haiti in this profound crisis. I welcome the efforts of the Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, and Report S/2026/325 of the 14th of April 2026. This highlights the complex nature of the situation, but also the resilience of the Haitian people given insecurity. I would also like to thank the Special Representative in Haiti, Ambassador Carlos Ruiz Massieu, for the excellent quality of his work. I would also like to express the gratitude of the Haitian people to those member states who have taken the floor today. Their contributions enlighten our shared action. I would like to assure this Council that all comments made have been duly taken into consideration. The transition government remains fully committed to help Haiti emerge from this crisis. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to bring to you a simple message that has already been conveyed to the Haitian people on the 7th of February. The time has come together. The state is taking up its rightful place again. Haiti shall not perish. This message reflects the resolve of the Haitian political forces to work together as demonstrated by the Pact for Stability and the Organization of Elections. The transition government has 3 priorities: restoring the authority of the state, protecting the population, and preparing the return for constitutional order. We have a deep conviction: without security, no development is possible. Specific results are starting to emerge. Thanks to the Haitian Armed Forces and the National Police and the Gang Suppression Force, several areas in the capital are slowly being retaken. Economic and social life is slowly but surely starting up again. There is an absolute need for urgency. The deployment of the GSF must take place without delay, while we are also acting on the medium term. However, in the immediate term, strengthening the HNP with the P4000 project is underway. 1,200 police officers have already been made operational. 887 additional ones are going to be deployed shortly, with an objective of 2,500 to 3,000 by the end of 2026. In terms of the Haitian Armed Forces, progress is speeding up. 338 new soldiers trained at the Vertières base will graduate on the 21st of April. For some 2 weeks now, 200 servicemen have been involved in consolidating the areas retaken by the HNP in the centre of Port-au-Prince. In 6 weeks' time, Vertières may well welcome 400 new recruits out of the 770 that have been waiting for 2 months. In 10 weeks' time, the Anacona base, the second training centre, may well welcome 300 new recruits. If the work makes progress as planned, in the next 6 months, the Haitian Armed Forces may include about 700 additional service personnel. These, added to the 200 who are already involved in rebuilding, will be the first troop of elite troops of the army. A new doctrine for the Haitian Armed Forces is also being drafted. A letter to request technical support has been sent to the permanent representative of Haiti to call for assistance and from the Inter-American Defense Center. A working group made up of, and this is for the permanent representative of the OAS, a working group composed of legal experts and defense experts has been set up within the defense military to achieve this work. This is why we fully support the recommendations of the Secretary General in terms of strengthening the mission. In all operations conducted, the respect for human rights is absolutely fundamental. Measures have been taken to protect civilians and avoid all abuse. Amongst the armed groups, the gangs that continue to refuse to lay down their arms, I reiterate, justice will be brought whilst respecting human dignity and respecting the laws in force. Mr. President, there are 2 strategic areas that are guiding our action: the Palm-Miraguan region in the Greater South and the Haut Plateau Central or Artibonite for the Greater North. These corridors are not just security corridors. They are seeking to re-establish traffic, support the economy, and strengthen the state's presence. There has been mass displacement of the population, and so the government has started a program of voluntary return to people's homes in order to restore dignity and stability for families. This process is also assisting the preparation of the electoral process. Progress has been made. The legal context is there, political parties are on the lists, and the electoral budget has been prepared. Our aim remains unchanged: to restore citizens' trust in democratic institutions. Mr. President, I am delighted that there has been the official resumption of dialogue with the Dominican Republic. This is based on mutual respect and peaceful cooperation. In conclusion, the Republic of Haiti calls upon the Security Council and the United Nations to further swiftly and concretely support the deployment of the gang suppression force, in particular in financial and logistical terms. The Haitian people is not asking for charity. We are asking for solidarity and for means to rebuild our future. Haiti is resisting, Haiti is recovering, Haiti will survive. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Faithami for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Dominican Republic.
Señor presidente.
Mr. President, Your Excellency, Mr. Alix Didier Fils-Aimé, Prime Minister of the Republic of Haiti, Mr. Carlos Ruiz-Massieu, Special Representative of the Secretary General, Mr. Jacques Christophides, distinguished members of the Council, ladies and gentlemen, the Dominican Republic would like to thank the Kingdom of Bahrain for leading the Council during this month, as well as Mr. Ruiz-Massieu and Mr. Christophides for the information presented. I would like to first greet you on behalf of President Abinader, who is closely following this work and reiterates his firm commitment to stability in Haiti. He is convinced that it is a shared responsibility that behooves all of the international community. Today, we are meeting at a moment that allows for cautious optimism. It is the first Council session on Haiti after the renewal of BNU's mandate, and it offers an excellent opportunity to monitor compliance of critical milestones enshrined in Resolution 2793. Since our last intervention in the Council, we have registered tangible progress in the three components of the new architecture. This trajectory is encouraging. However, we do understand that the magnitude of the challenges demands that we redouble our collective efforts in order to consolidate what we have achieved and face with determination what we still have ahead. The timeframes established in Resolution 2793 have been implemented in due time and form. It is a process that is underway, and its rhythm for consolidation must match the complexity of the challenge posed by gangs. And in this sense, generating troops, resources, and support is an imperative that this Council should continue to support. Mr. President, we would like to warmly greet and welcome the presence of His Excellency Prime Minister Alix Didier Fils-Aimé in this Council. His participation in this forum sends a very relevant political message. It is an expression of the commitment of the Haitian authorities to the deployment of the new force and with the consolidation of the security architecture. Progress on the political front is equally important for stability in Haiti, and it should be highlighted that during this period we have seen significant progress in this area. We also recognize the efforts of the standing group of partners led by the United States and Canada. We would like to thank countries that have contributed troops, and we would like to mention the sustained commitment of El Salvador, Guatemala, Bahamas, as well as the decisive role that Kenya has played, and all of those that have started new deployments. The Dominican Republic has supported this process from the very beginning with a constant commitment. Moreover, we've assigned $10 million for medical, logistical, and operational support, and we commit to contributing $10 million additional dollars to the Trust Fund for Haiti in 2027. Moreover, we have provided medevac services for the gang suppression force staff as well as UNSA, and currently we are actually actively negotiating memoranda of understanding with several participating countries. The Dominican Republic is the host of the Office of Operations and Resource Management of UNSA. 2 deployed helicopters are currently operating from there, and we have ensured facilities for border transfers and air transfers for troops and equipments. The UNODC's report documents the country's sustained efforts strengthening infrastructure with sensors and drones, seizures at the ports, the destruction of 3,945 decommissioned weapons, and financial intelligence cooperation. On the 25th of March, the Wanamith-Dahaban corridor was the stage for the first binational exercise between Dominican and Haitian authorities in real time to fight against transnational organized crime. We would like to thank the United Kingdom and the UNODC for their support in this area. The illicit trafficking of weapons is a regional challenge that no country can face in isolation. Bilaterally, we would like to highlight the agreement signed on the 17th of April by Chancellors Roberto Alvarez and Reina Forbin, who are here. In that framework, the Dominican Republic has decided to reopen the air corridor between Dominican airports and Cap Haitian. We would like to thank the Secretary General for his public support to this initiative. Mr. President, the human rights situation described in the Secretary General's report continues to be deeply concerning. The scale of homicides, sexual violence used as a mechanism of coercion by gangs, the growing recruitment of boys and girls, and the displacement of over 1.45 million people, half of them minors, demand urgent responses. All security operations should be carried out in full respect of international human rights standards. And in that sense, we welcome the training provided by the High Commissioner to staff working with the force. The Dominican Republic calls upon the international community to redouble its contributions to the gang suppression force as well as to the trust fund that sustains their operations. While the deployment is currently underway, there is still a significant gap between the number of troops deployed and the authorized ceiling. This is the main operational challenge at this stage. The 2026 humanitarian plan is only financed 18.4%. Security in and of itself is not sufficient. Progress in this area remain fragile, and they are possibly reversible if there isn't a comprehensive focus for this. Haiti requires, along with the security component, a strategy to foster private investment that creates formal employment for youth and supports the efforts of the National Commission for Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration in order to offer effective off-ramps for children and youth that are linked to the gangs. Dismantling these structures depends on offering real alternatives to those that today are vulnerable to being recruited by them. Mr. President, the Dominican Republic will maintain its commitment to support the efforts of the international community in Haiti. But this commitment should be supported by verifiable results. This council cannot be satisfied with merely managing the crisis. It should contribute to the recovery, to overcoming it. The standard is clear. For Haiti to recover effective control over its territory, for its institutions to once again have legitimate authority, and for its population to be able to live without fear. Any effort that does not bring us closer to that common goal will, at the end of the day, be insufficient. That is the collective responsibility that brings us together today. I thank you, President.
I thank the representative of Dominican Republic for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of the 14 member states of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM. At the outset, allow me to recognize the presence of His Excellency Monsieur Alex Didier Fils-Aimé, Prime Minister of Haiti, and to thank him for his update. I also wish to express appreciation to the briefers for their frank and insightful presentations. We thank the Secretary General for his report and take note of the OCHR BNU 20 February report on children trafficked by gangs, rethinking the response. CARICOM welcomes this 90-day briefing on the situation in Haiti. We take note of the comments made by the briefers and His Excellency the Prime Minister that Haiti has entered a decisive phase. There has been institutional progress and some security gains. Notwithstanding, Mr. President, CARICOM remains deeply concerned by the ongoing security challenges, governance challenges, and worsening humanitarian situation in Haiti. The expansion of gang control continues, while incidents of sexual violence, fatalities, child and children recruitment, internal displacement, kidnapping, extortion, and food insecurity are all on the rise. Mr. President, the situation remains dire and is challenged daily. The Caribbean community has focused its efforts on supporting the establishment and the work of the now dissolved Transitional Presidential Council, as well as the Haiti Good Offices mechanism through the CARICOM-endorsed Eminent Persons Group. CARICOM member states have also joined the international community in their continued commitment to stabilizing Haiti's security environment through support for the Kenya-led multinational security support mission and its now re-envisioned gang suppression force. At this juncture, Mr. President, CARICOM takes this opportunity to express its appreciation to the government of Kenya, the United States, and all participating countries for their commitment and support to Haiti as it confronts a complex, multidimensional security crisis. With the establishment and operationalization of the United Nations Support Office in Haiti to assist the work of the Gang Suppression Force, and with the recent renewal of the mandate of the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti, which the CARICOM Caucus of Ambassadors here in New York welcomed in this chamber on January 29th, there is a meaningful opportunity to generate positive and sustained outcomes in support of stability and institutional strengthening in Haiti, with all three mechanisms working in unison. Most pressing for CARICOM, however, are the first round of general elections scheduled for August 2026 and the second round scheduled for December 2026, as well as the progress of the GSF and the Haitian National Police in improving the security environment necessary for elections to take place. Free and fair elections, ensuring that the Haitian people can fully exercise their democratic voice, remain essential and critical. CARICOM reaffirms its unwavering solidarity with the people of Haiti. As Haiti's closest neighbors, we underscore the importance of advancing Haitian-led political process, including the implementation of transitional governance arrangements and the establishment of a clear electoral roadmap. Durable peace and stability in Haiti can only be achieved through legitimate, inclusive, and nationally owned political solutions. Mr. President, we urge this Council to remain seized of the matter and to act with unity and resolve for a stable Haiti in the short term and a lasting peaceful solution in the medium to long term. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Trinidad and Tobago for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Kenya.
Thank you, Mr. President. I commend you, and through you, the delegation of the Kingdom of Bahrain for the exemplary stewardship of the Security Council during the month of April. I thank SRSG Carlos Ruiz Masu and the Special Representative of the Gang Suppression Force, Mr. Jack Christofides, for their comprehensive briefings on the current situation in Haiti. I acknowledge with gratitude the participation of His Excellency Alex Didier Fils-Aimé, the Prime Minister of Haiti, and his delegation. I commend all members of this Security Council for their continued and unequivocal commitment to the people of Haiti. Over the past 6 months, the Council has adopted key resolutions, including 2793, establishing the Gang Suppression Force, 2795, renewing the sanctions regime, and 2814, revising and extending the mandate of BINU. These measures underscore the Council's sustained resolve to support Haiti's path toward stability and recovery. Mr. President, the situation in Haiti remains deeply concerning. It is still fragile and marked by protracted gang violence beyond the capital. Yet, even amid these challenges, hope endures, rooted in the resilience of the Haitian people, the determination of their leadership to restore state authority and democratic governance, and the steadfast support of the international community. This briefing therefore takes place at a pivotal point. Today, Haiti stands at a critical juncture in its stabilization process. Currently, the transition from the Multinational Security Support Mission MSS to the Gang Suppression Force GSF is approaching its completion. The deployment and operations of the MSS, which commenced in June 2024, has demonstrated that the mission for restoration of security to Haiti is possible. Mr. President, as the Council will recall, in 2023, Kenya responded to the call of the Haitian people and the international community to help address entrenched gang violence, threatening to further destabilize an already fragile socioeconomic and political environment with broader implications for the Caribbean region. In his address to the General Assembly in September 2023, the President of the Republic of Kenya, President William Ruto, pledged to deploy 1,000 officers to the envisioned 2,500-strong MSS mission, a commitment that was subsequently operationalized through Security Council Resolution 2699 of 2023. Kenya further accepted to take the leadership of the mission, provided the force commander and the largest number of the fighting force. Under Kenya's leadership, the mission has adhered strictly to its guiding frameworks, including the concept of operations, the status of forces agreement, and the UN human rights due diligence policy, upholding the highest standards of professionalism, accountability, and transparency. My delegation commends the courage and professionalism of the Haitian National Police alongside MSS contingents from Kenya, the Bahamas, Belize, Canada, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Jamaica, who have served with distinction under extremely challenging conditions. Mr. President, let me address an issue which has been alluded to by the delegation of Panama and Denmark. In August 2025, allegations of sexual exploitation and abuse relating to the conduct of some MSS personnel, as referenced in the Secretary General's report, were reported. The MSS leadership acted promptly by establishing a board of inquiry. The findings of that board were formally communicated to the Inspector General of the Haitian National Police and relevant United Nations human rights structures in Haiti. Those findings are unfortunately inconsistent with the averments in the Secretary General's report, and the government of the Republic of Kenya has written formally to the Secretary General in that regard. But let me be clear, Mr. President. Kenya reaffirms its commitment to the highest standards of conduct, transparency, and accountability. This commitment has guided our participation in and leadership of peacekeeping missions across the world for decades, and we shall not waver in that endeavor. Kenya therefore remains prepared to cooperate fully with the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights and other relevant mechanisms including in consideration of any subsequently emerging relevant and credible information. Mr. President, although the mission faced significant personnel, logistical, and material constraints, it demonstrated unsurpassed professionalism. In close coordination with the Haitian National Police, MSS forces conducted targeted anti-gang operations contributing to measurable gains. Most notably, they secured and protected strategic infrastructure, including the seat of government, the airport and seaport, as well as the main supply roads, facilitated humanitarian access, and ensured the delivery of essential services, including healthcare and education. They have also contributed to restoring security, particularly in parts of Port-au-Prince, and to gradual revival of economic activity in areas that were previously under gang control. Most fundamentally, these efforts have supported governmental continuity through multiple transitions, the most notable being the 7th February 2026 transition that led to a consolidation of authority going forward. We also honor the memory of MSS officers Mr. Samuel Tomoy Keatwai, Mr. Benedict Kabiru, and Mr. Kennedy Nzuve, who made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. Mr. President, the progress achieved by a contingent of 999 personnel demonstrates that stability in Haiti is possible. Persuaded of this, Kenya has and will remain a strong advocate for stronger international support for Haiti that is clearly mandated, adequately resourced, and effectively coordinated. It's therefore imperative that the GSF is fully operationalized and sufficiently resourced. This will require collective action through timely implementation, sustained political commitment, and predictable, adequate financing to ensure that the mission delivers tangible and lasting impact. This moment is particularly critical as the last fighting contingent of the MSS departs from theater at the end of April 2026. In the last 6 months, Kenya has been part of the standing group of partners that has been engaged in the various aspects of the standing of the GSF. And during that time, and in line with the commitment of His Excellency President William Ruto to the international community, Kenya has been engaged in a process that guarantees an orderly transition and transfer of responsibilities in line with the evolving mission framework. We have provided leadership and operational support during this transition, laying the foundation for a more capable and better resourced GSF able to effectively deliver on its mandate. We believe that the MSS experience and successes attained provide a strong foundation upon which the GSF should build. Mr. President, as I conclude, I extend the sincere appreciation of my country and my delegation to all stakeholders that are engaged in this effort, including troop contributing and police contributing countries and all donors, both bilateral as well as those that contribute through the UN Trust Fund. I also thank the Secretary General for his leadership in establishing and operationalizing the Trust Fund, as well as for his comprehensive report on enhancing the United Nations role in Haiti. The recommendations therein, informed by lessons from the MSS, have been reflected in the design of the GSF and the revised mandate of BINU, and will continue to guide stabilization efforts. Finally, I reaffirm Kenya's unwavering solidarity with the people of Haiti While our troop deployment is concluding as part of the MSS to GSF transition, our commitment remains steadfast. Kenya will continue to engage constructively with Haiti and international partners in support of stabilization, recovery, and the restoration of lasting peace and security. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Kenya for the statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Michel Cazevier-Piang, Permanent Observer for the International Organization of the La Francophonie to the United Nations.
Monsieur le Président,
Mr. President, I would like to thank you for organizing this meeting that comes at a moment of great expectations for the Haitian people. I would also like to thank Mr. Carlos Ruiz-Massieu, Special Representative of the Secretary General for Haiti and head of BINU, for his edifying intervention, as well as Mr. Jack Christophides, Special Representative for the Gang Suppression Force, for the work that he has done until now. I would also like to welcome the presence in this meeting of His Excellency Alex Didier Fils-Aimé, Prime Minister of Haiti. Mr. President, 7 months after the adoption of Resolution 2793 of the Security Council to establish the Gang Suppression Force, we are at the threshold of a decisive moment on the road to stabilizing Haiti. The recent arrival to Port-au-Prince of the first troops for the Gang Suppression Force marks the passage that we have waited for so long, the engagement phase to the operational phase. And it gives new hope for Haitian men and women to be able to live free from horror and fear. The Francophonie, with its special relationship to Haiti, is mobilized to support this dynamic in a determined manner, and we are committed through our concrete support to the new architecture of the Gang Suppression Force. On the 25th of September 2025 in New York, along with CARICOM, we launched a diplomatic appeal that matches the urgency and the demands for solidarity in the face of the multidimensional crisis that Haiti is experiencing. And since then, the Francophonie has worked with its member states so that they will express their solidarity and be able to respond to the challenges and contribute to the progressive buildup of the Gang Suppression Force. And in this spirit, Chad, a member country of the OIF, has joined its peers in the Francophonie and expressed its solidarity with the Haitian people. And this is not the time to give up on our efforts. And it is why, along with France, Canada, and UNITAR, we are continuing with our actions to actively contribute to the operational preparation of the contingents of the Gang Suppression Force through a pre-deployment training for Francophone staff, which is fully in sync with the demands of the field and the realities of the Haitian context. And this includes a civilian protection component. Buoyed by our experience in training in French and Haitian Creole and the local social cultural realities, training that we have given to over 1,250 staff members of MSS in Haiti, the Francophonie is working to extend the benefits of these efforts to the Gang Suppression Force with a clear goal to strengthen the operational effectiveness and to consolidate the relationship of trust between the deployed forces and the population. And in this spirit, the OIF is strengthening the capacities of the Haitian National Police in partnership with the International Network for Police Training, Francopol, as well as the High Commission of the United Nations for Human Rights and France. And over 100 staff of the National Police have received training in 2025 to manage security operations in a deteriorated security context, always bearing in mind the importance of respecting human rights. And these efforts will be strengthened during the electoral process and to protect women and girls from violence. Mr. President, we must not lose sight of the fact that the security response is not an end in and of itself, but it is an indispensable milestone in a trajectory to reestablish the authority of the state throughout the entire territory and to create the necessary conditions to organize elections that are inclusive, transparent, and credible. And it is in this spirit that the Francophonie has continued to provide support to the political process through visits from the Special Envoy of the Secretary General of the Francophonie, Mr. Domitien Ndizai. And the OIF also provides technical support to the electoral process by upholding the organ to manage elections, promoting an inclusive process for vulnerable groups, and supporting national electoral observation, as well as information integrity and the fight against corruption. These crucial efforts demand better international mobilization and better coordination. And in this dynamic, the Secretary General of the Francophonie, Madame Louise Mushikwabo, keeps a regular channel of dialogue open with all regional partners, such as the Secretary General of CARICOM and the Secretary General of OAS. We are, of course, convinced that it will be Haitian men and women who will lead this process and will fully assume their responsibilities. Mr. President, the multidimensional crisis in Haiti also compels us to pay special attention to the human dimension of it. Violence, especially sexual and gender-based violence, has reached an alarming level, and women and girls are at the front line of this, supporting victims, access to justice, economic empowerment, as well as the full and complete participation of women in the political process and in public life are essential levers in order to strengthen the resilience of communities. We are convinced of the pivotal role that Haitian women can play in a return to political, social, and security stability. So the OIF has included Haiti as a priority country in the fund. The Francophonie stands with women. 36 initiatives led by Haitian women have been supported through this mechanism for solidarity for a total amount of 2.3 million euros, and 11 new projects have benefited from additional support of around 1 million euros in the framework of the 6th round of funding provided by this fund. And there was a partnership concluded in November 2025 with UN Women in Haiti. This was essential to identify these initiatives and make sure that follow-up was provided. Mr. President, to conclude, it is important to underline that this current moment demands that we are lucid and determined. Lucid because the challenges are considerable and the achievements are fragile, and determined because we have an open window of opportunity, and we should make the most out of it to ensure security in the country and ensure the necessary conditions for a credible electoral process. This means reestablishing security, as well as state functions, and to open up a democratic horizon and give a renewed outlook to the Haitian population. The Francophonie is ready to continue and to strengthen its commitment to support the efforts of the Haitian authorities and the international community, and we will continue to fully assume our political responsibility toward Haiti with solidarity, a member state with which it shares a history, a language, values, and a deep aspiration for peace. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Bianc for the statement. There are no more names inscribed on the list of speakers. I now invite council members to informal consultation to continue our discussion on the subject. The meeting is adjourned.
that, the efforts at shoring up multilateralism. There are a number of initiatives that, China has in terms of their South-South cooperation, in terms of multilateralism, in terms of infrastructure investment. And so really to expound on these issues and to see how the government and the General Assembly can work more closely together on moving forward these very important items in terms of multilateralism, in terms of global governance. So it really is to strengthen these ties and to strengthen support for the multilateral system.
Thank you. If I may, I have another question about the next Secretary General. So we know that in 80 years, the UN does not have a woman Secretary General. So does the PGA believe that this year's process creates a genuine opportunity to change that? Thank you.
I do think that she feels that the resolution that outlines the resolution on the revitalization of the organization, it is clear that member states called on countries to nominate qualified female candidates. And so her job is not to weigh in on who it should be, whether it should be a man or a woman, but to fulfill the requirements of that resolution, which is that it is an inclusive process, that it is a transparent process, and that it is up to member states to nominate, to find and nominate, and there is no shortage of women candidates who could take on this job. And so, it's not a question of whether she believes it should be or whether, she believes that this is the time. But as you said, her job is to run a process so that everyone has a fair opportunity to showcase their skills and be considered for this position. And that includes women candidates as well. And certainly she feels that there's no shortage of qualified candidates. And so she is running a process to make sure that everyone is able to speak to member states and civil society and journalists and make their case for why they should be the next leader of this organization. Do I have any questions online? Sorry, I often forget our online colleagues. Someone turn their camera on. Iftihar, is that you? I can't see very well. My vision is getting worse and worse. Did you have a question? Okay, no. I have terrible vision, and I'm actually wearing bifocal contacts, so that just goes to show you. Steph is waiting anxiously, with bated breath to speak to you. So I will then conclude my time here with you all today. All right, thank you.
Abdelhamid, welcome back. All right, good afternoon. Just a programming note, tomorrow at 1:15, we'll have Izumi Nakamitsu, the Undersecretary General and High Representative for Disarmament Affairs. She will be here to speak to you on the 11th Review Conference of the Parties to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. This morning in the Security Council, Carlos Ruiz Massieu briefed on the situation in Haiti. He said that Haiti stands at a pivotal moment where political and institutional progress is laying the foundations for a credible path forward. Haitian stakeholders are clear, he said, that elections remain the only legitimate path back to constitutional order, and our political mission continues to support national efforts and to coordinate international assistance to help deliver credible and inclusive elections in the country. But without tangible improvements on the security front, progress will be difficult to sustain. As national security forces continue to be strengthened, the full and timely deployment of the gang suppression force is essential to reinforce these efforts. He added that council members he told council members that with sustained national commitment and coordinated international support, it is possible to turn this critical phase into a genuine turning point for Haiti. He renewed our commitments to work alongside Haitian authorities to help turn this window of opportunity into tangible progress, restoring security and reestablishing democratic institutions. And an update from our end on the trust fund for the gang suppression force. The state of Qatar has confirmed a pledge of $30 million to the trust fund, with $10 million to be paid over 3 years. We thank Qatar for their support of the gang suppression force in Haiti. The trust fund has now received a total of $203.3 million, with $174.1 million in cash. And we expect Mr. Ruiz-Massieu to go to the stakeout to speak to you after consultations are done, so probably around 1:15 or so. Turning to Lebanon, you saw that yesterday afternoon we issued a statement in which the Secretary General said he was saddened to learn of the death of a second French peacekeeper in the attack that happened on April 18th, where peacekeepers came under fire from a non-state actor presumed to be Hezbollah. Corporal Anissé Girardin succumbed to his wounds in Paris yesterday. Also on the situation in Lebanon, I can tell you that we condemn the killing of the Lebanese journalist Amal Khalil in a reported Israeli airstrike in Tiri in southern Lebanon that took place yesterday. We extend our condolences to the family, friends, and the colleagues of Amal, and we express our hopes for full and swift recovery of the second journalist who was injured in the same incident. Following the strike, our colleagues at UNIFIL contributed to the deconfliction efforts with the Israeli Defense Forces to facilitate access for the Lebanese Red Cross to provide support to the injured journalist. The Secretary General recalls that civilians, including journalists, must be respected and protected at all times. He calls for a prompt and impartial investigation to this killing. Targeting civilians and obstructing aid are violations of international humanitarian law. He reiterates that journalists must be able to perform their essential duties without fears of interference, harassment, or worse. And as an update on the resupply issue I raised over the past few days, following further deconfliction efforts with the IDF, UNIFIL was able to resupply several of its isolated positions along the Blue Line. On the humanitarian fronts, I can tell you that humanitarian needs remain severe and the operating environment in Lebanon highly fragile. Since the ceasefire, many people remain displaced and their access to essential services remains restricted. OCHA says that damage to bridges and other critical infrastructure, as well as displacement orders and the presence of unexploded ordnances and other risks, continue to limit people's ability to move and complicates aid delivery, especially in southern Lebanon. Despite these constraints, our partners continue to reach hard-to-access communities. Since yesterday, 5 more humanitarian operations have been carried out through the OCHA-managed humanitarian notification system, bringing the total number of humanitarian movements facilitated to 80 since the start of the conflict. Our partners report that water had been delivered to support more than 600,000 people, alongside fuel to keep critical water services running. Our health partners tell us that they are supporting authorities to provide primary healthcare services for displaced people, including some 190,000 consultations and essential medication for acute and chronic conditions to over 70,000 people. Our partners working in education and protection report that they continue to support displaced children through psychosocial activities, recreational sport, and alternative learning options. Funding, as you can imagine, is essential, and as you can also imagine, we need more of it. The response remains underfunded. Lebanon Flash Appeal is currently only 30% funded, with $94 million received out of the $308 million required. Turning to Gaza, the Office of the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs say that continued reports of strikes, shelling, and gunfire in residential areas are increasing concerns for the safety of civilians. Yesterday, our colleagues received reports of children killed in North Gaza, where a tent was hit in a strike. OCHA reiterates that under international humanitarian law, civilians or civilian infrastructure must be protected at all times. On food security, we and our partners continue to distribute meals, bread, and other supplies. That includes in areas that are hard to reach. As of Monday, our partners were serving about 1.1 meals and producing about 230 metric tons of bread each and every day. This is achieved in collaboration with more than 120 kitchens, commercial bakeries, and so-called community ovens. Still, our colleagues from the World Food Program warn that every fifth family in Gaza eats just one meal per day. Turning to the West Bank, we continue to receive very alarming reports of settler-related violence, which is causing Palestinian casualties and material damage as well as displacement. Recent attacks have particularly affected education facilities. On Tuesday, a school in Ramallah area came under fire by Israeli settlers and one child was reportedly killed. Earlier in the day, settlers demolished a school serving some 60 girls and boys in the Jordan Valley. And in Hebron area, settlers have recently obstructed access of a similar numbers of students for about 10 days. Our humanitarian partners are providing psychosocial support for the students impacted. And our partners warn that children in the West Bank are seeing more violence in and around their schools. This puts them at risk and makes it harder for them to continue learning. We underscore the urgent need to protect and restore every child's access to education. Turning to Yemen, and in further reference to what I told you yesterday about our ongoing efforts to help secure the release of 73 of our colleagues who continue to be arbitrarily detained by the Houthis. Some have been held for years. Just some additional details to share with you. As part of these ongoing efforts, our senior officials leading the regional engagement on arbitrary detention, Muin Shreim, was in Muscat earlier this week on Tuesday. There he met with Ansar Allah's Mohammed Abdul Salam and with Omani officials and a number of resident ambassadors. The discussions focused on the immediate and unconditional release of all UN personnel detained by the Houthis. This follows Muin's recent visit to Riyadh, where he met with the president of the Presidential Leadership Council, Rashad al-Halimi, as well as senior Saudi government officials, also ambassadors representing the permanent members of the Security Council. Our intensified and coordinated efforts to resolve this issue as swiftly as possible will continue, and we'll keep you updated on Muin's contacts as they happen. Once again, we call for the immediate and unconditional release of all arbitrarily detained personnel, not only from the UN, but also NGOs, civil society, and diplomatic missions. We and our partners should never be targeted or detained while carrying out our mandates for the benefit of the people we are serving. These detentions directly impact millions of Yemenis in need, limiting their access to critical assistance. A couple of notes from the Central African Republic, where the peacekeepers are working on preparations for the legislative elections and by-elections scheduled this Sunday. As of today, 29 metric tons of electoral material have been delivered via air and land to multiple locations across the CAR, and thankfully without any reported incidents. The second phase is now ongoing, with materials being delivered from UN peacekeeping bases to local branches of the National Election Authority. Completion is expected in the coming days. The mission is also supporting the transportation of electoral personnel, enabling hundreds of national electoral staff to reach their polling stations all across the CAR. Preparations for the processing of results also continues at the National Data Tabulation Center with support from the peacekeepers and UNDP. This includes software testing and capacity building for national staff. On the security front, coordination continues under the Integrated Election Security Plan. Peacekeeping mission is supporting national defense and security forces, including through airlift assistance to particularly sensitive areas in the country. The mission also continues to support civic education, efforts promoting peaceful participation and inclusion, including to support the participation of women in these polls. MINUSCA remains engaged alongside national authorities to support peaceful, inclusive, and credible elections scheduled to take place on Sunday, as I mentioned. On the humanitarian front, our OCHA colleagues tell us that 41,000 people in the CAR central and northern areas will lose access to life-saving healthcare services by June due to funding shortfalls. Our main health partners, the International Medical Corps, which supports displaced people in these regions, is expected to halt its activities due to lack of funds. People in displacement sites and return areas will face disruptions to free medical consultations and referral to specialized medical care. More broadly, they say that severe underfunding continues to impact humanitarian operations across the country. Since July of last year, an average of 10 humanitarian field offices have closed each month, limiting the reach of assistance to people who need it. To date, only 14% of the $264 million required to assist 1.3 million people in the CAR's most vulnerable in this year has been received. OCHA urgently calls on donors to step up and to funding now to prevent further disruptions to essential humanitarian operations that protect lives and support recovery. And we reiterate the need for safe, sustained, and unhindered humanitarian access across the country. Just to flag that yesterday evening, our friend Volker Turk, the High Commissioner for Human Rights, concluded his visit to Mexico. While in the country, he held bilateral meetings with several government officials, including President Claudia Sheinbaum. Mr. Turk also had meetings with civil society, indigenous peoples, the private sector, and collective victims of human rights violations, including families of disappeared people, noting that disappearances remain one of the most serious and painful human rights challenges in Mexico, and it must be addressed in a way that is not politicized nor polarized, and for victims to remain at the center of that work. He also addressed issues of violence against journalists, human rights defenders, especially women, also issues of impunity and judicial reform. A couple more notes for you. The UN Trade and Development people at UNCTAD released the new data showing that the gross domestic product alone does not fully how an economy is reflect fully how an economy is developing. Instead, it highlights the broader concept called productive capacity, which includes skills, strong institutions, and infrastructure. According to UNCTAD, while some developing countries are making progress, many are still stuck exporting basic and low-value goods. However, building industries that add more value to the economy is key. Chris, I've got two quizzes for you. I've got a bonus quiz on International Language Days. We're marking 2 International Linguistic Days today. Both are linked, yes, okay, English and? No. Spanish. Do you know why they are both days are being marked on the same day? The key is the year 1616. All right, smarty pants. 2 writers who are critical for the advancement of their respective languages died that year. Shakespeare, yes, and who else?
It's his birthday today.
Just shui shui. Who else? Cervantes, exactly. Cervantes died on April 22nd, 1616, and Shakespeare died on April 23, 1616, which was also the date of his birth in 1564. This is why we mark both days today. Now, financial contribution. In 1964, a young man named Farouk Bulsara left this country to go to the United Kingdom, and he settled in the UK. Yes, very good. Why is it Tanzania? Who is Farouk Bulsara? Exactly. Freddie Mercury. All right, so we thank our friends in Dodoma. Chris, you were humiliated today. Very, very, very good, Noreen, very good. So let's not forget to thank our friends at Dodoma for their full payment of the regular budget. Tanzania paid $317,897. We thank them for every penny. Noreen, do you have a question?
I would like to yield my question to Associated Press.
Okay, Edie, please.
Thank you very much, Steph. And I did like Freddie Mercury also, but never knew that was his name. On the visit to Oman, we know that the Houthis have a delegation there usually. Is the UN envoy planning to have any discussions directly with the Houthis?
Yes, he met with his counterpart, the point person for who is our point person, and that is Mohammed Abdusalam, who's the Houthis' point person for us on dealing with our detained colleagues.
And was there any positive outcome from that meeting?
The discussions are ongoing, and our colleagues sadly remain detained with no reason.
And on Gaza, are both Kerem Shalom and Zikim still open? And what's the status of trying to get cargo through Rafah? I assume medical evacuations are still taking place.
Yeah, no cargo through Rafah. Karim Shalom and Zikim remain technically open, though they may have been closed for Independence Day in Israel. They've been closed for a number of Israeli holidays, but they remain open. Madame.
Thank you. On Amal Khalil, we just heard your statement. According to CPJ numbers, tracking back to 1992, Israel has been responsible for more journalists and media worker deaths than any other country. And on Amal Khalil specifically, it is apparently a deliberate, targeting. The Red Cross was prevented for 7 hours from reaching the site. Is it time to call a spade and be more forceful in criticism towards a member state that is actually committing a war crime?
I think we've been very clear in condemning this in what appeared to us to be an Israeli airstrike. We know there was difficulty in the Red Cross accessing the site. And that's why our UNIFIL colleagues working with the IDF did the usual deconfliction. So her body could be recovered and